Hello and thank you for tuning in. I'm Peter Kelly. Today is Wednesday, March 4th, 2015, and At UH starts now. And we're back in Coug TV studios, powered by SVN here at the Center for Student Media on the University of Houston. Tonight on At UH is a presidential debate night tonight. We've got three candidates for the Student Government Association presidential race. To my immediate left is presidential hopeful Shaun Smith, followed by Elisha Diaz, as well as Sam Perez. Gentlemen, everybody doing well tonight?
Great.
Good. Thank you all very much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
So unless you've been living under a rock for the past couple of weeks, it's no secret that Carl Carlucci, the head of the Administration and Finance Division, has been under some fire for everything from hidden fees and missing money all the way to spending nearly or an estimated $20 million over budget on the stadium. The word on the street is that nearly all of SGA voted for a vote of no confidence, but I hear you were against that. Can you elaborate?
Sure, absolutely. So as the only presidential candidate that's currently in SGA, I'm definitely intimate with the way that we went about the no confidence votes. As the Speaker of the Senate, I don't have a vote or a say, and have to be unbiased in facilitating legislative business, but as a candidate, I can assert my opinion. So I don't personally feel that it's appropriate for SGA to call publicly for the resignation of a university employee.
Sure. Gentlemen, a rebuttal.
I would like to add that for me, it's not really even about the way it was handled. It's about just the plain fact that apparently $20 million went missing. I want to start a plan where low-income students could have a scholarship where if you have to take out more than 1.5K in loans, or if you have an ESC of under $1,000.
I'm terribly sorry to cut you off. If you could just do me a favor, kind of stick to the question. As far as Carl Carlucci goes, yes. Do you agree with the fact that he was put under fire?
I do agree with the fact that he was put under fire, because the fact that $20 million are missing, and that $20 million could have gone to students that need the money, and students in need, and that's what really gets me angry.
Sure, Mr. Perez.
Yeah, I believe yes, he was put under fire, and something that I think the key problem was communication that was between the SGA, the administration, and the student body as a whole. From what I read about it, that's what is going on. Everybody was confused of what was the agreement, what was said during the thing. So I think we should note that, and as president, that's one of my things I want to do is have clear communication between the administration and the student body.
Absolutely. And current President Charles Haston was quoted saying he has people underneath him that demonstrated that they're entirely incompetent and unable to hold the positions they hold on this campus. Dr. Carlucci's solution to that is to take as many shortcuts as possible. He doesn't have a staff that's capable of actually doing their jobs. And I believe that was towards two of his staff members, two young ladies. Can y'all, let's take it around again.
Sure.
Your thoughts on that quote and the idea.
So I don't personally feel that Dr. Carlucci was incompetent, nor his leadership that he has under him, but I do feel that they acted incompetently and lazily in the request for proposal process for the stadium. I still feel that they have done a lot of good over the years as in the division, but at the end of the day, that was not a student-first initiative. It did not favor students.
Absolutely. Mr. Diaz.
I also don't think it was not a student-first initiative, which is one of the things that I advocate for the most. I just want students to, have their voices heard and for something like that to happen to us.
Sure. Mr. Smith. No, I'm sorry, Mr. Perez.
Yes, sir.
Apologize.
That's fine. But yeah, of course, it wasn't something incompetent that he had done or his administration. I think it was a lot of times jumped to conclusions before we knew all the information that we need to know. I mean, if we see the past, what Mr. Carlucci has done, he's done a lot for our university. And I believe, again, like I said, it's a communication factor between the students and the administration.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, beg your pardon. We go now to Cara Willis, who will be speaking with two members of the Cougar Editorial Board. Cara?
Thank you, Peter. Joining us today is Creative Director Chris Shelton and SGA beat writer Glissette Santana talking with us about the new stadium controversy and the Carlucci situation. Hey guys, is there anything that you want to start off the conversation, kind of informing us on what's going on? Everyone's curious to know. Just fill us in on what the end result of the Carlucci situation was.
Yeah, it's a really convoluted situation as it is. It started back in November when SGA President Charles Haston kind of started disagreeing with the Division of Administration and Finance, and Cara Carlucci is the head of that administration. And from there, it just kind of in this downslide of disagreements between the student government and the Division of Administration and Finance. And so they called for his resignation, and they voted a vote of no confidence against him, pretty much asking him and his 2 deputies to resign.
Okay. And any words, Shaun?
It hinged a lot on whether the football stadium and whether the contract process was done in the correct way. SGA had a lot of problems with the request for proposals and whether he did that in the correct fashion.
Okay, and for those who don't know, the no confidence bill, what exactly is that proposing?
The bill proposed, pretty much in layman's terms, for the immediate resignation of Cara Carlucci, Emily Mesa, and Esmeralda Valdez, who are the top 3 people in the Division of Administration and Finance. Pretty much SGA agreed that they were the 3 people to blame for kind of recurring problems on campus, such as the leadership that Aramark has on campus, specifically with the kind of subsidiary Sports and Entertainment, who is in charge of the stadium. They've had a lot of problems with them, and among other issues. So they really just tried to get to the top of the problem.
So would you say that the problem is solved, or do they still have a ways to go figuring all of this out?
I'd say they probably still have a little bit of a ways to go, but they're almost there.
Okay. Anything?
If you look at the problem, a lot of it hinged on the speed in which the stadium was built. There was a pressure to have the stadium finished before the next football season came up. And if you juxtapose what happened with the football stadium compared with the UC, where the UC was slow walked and students were involved in every single process, involved in the student center down to what color the carpet is and how many chairs there were, you can tell that there weren't these kind of alleged sloppy mistakes that were made. So perhaps if the stadium was done quicker, it may have been a different outcome.
Well, thank you both for joining us today to clear up some of this confusion that's going on and letting us know what the end result is and where we go from here. Thank you all for joining us. Back to you, Peter.
Coming back from Cara Carlucci leads me into my next topic, gentlemen, freshman housing requirement. One of the things that has been a concern for people is safety on campus. Mr. Perez, what are your thoughts on the potential of freshman housing requirements being mandatory?
That's something that I actually am in support of. If you don't know, so far the university has a very high, low rate of graduation among freshmen. So I believe by requiring freshmen to live on campus, this would increase their academic performance here in the university, also get them more involved here on campus activities.
Absolutely.
What's it called? I think that's an absolutely great idea. That's the way it is at other schools. Schools like Duke University, my sister's a Duke graduate, and she has lived on campus all 4 years, and she's going on to grad school at Stanford and Brown. It really does help a lot because you get committed, And what else? If they're going to do it, though, they need to make it more, they need to help the people that are in need. Also, for example, they need to make it more accessible, like opening the satellite during the weekends. I remember on Yik, I saw a yak on Yik Yak that it said exactly that. If they're going to make housing mandatory, they better make the satellite open on weekends. And they got 73 upvotes. People want that. If they're going to make it mandatory, at least make it more accessible. So that's my thoughts on it.
Well, as far as freshman housing go, the data clearly shows that living on campus your first year of university increases your GPA. The GPA is demonstrably better. However, I don't really feel that the university has any business in shoehorning culture or placing potentially an undue burden on the students. It may not be able to afford freshman housing or housing in period. For example, one of the founding donations that we had from Huey Cohen, he stipulated that the University of Houston should be a college for working men and women and their sons and daughters, and if it were to be another rich man's college, he wouldn't be interested in the first place. So I think it potentially violates our legacy of promise in doing that.
It's interesting you say shoehorning culture, considering the University of Houston is the second most culturally diverse college campus in the country. Can you elaborate a little bit more on your idea of shoehorning culture?
So I feel that University of Houston has done a great job in just allowing our culture to derive organically from what we have. We have a tremendous cultural capital here on campus, and we really need to tap into that, trying to find those demographics that may not necessarily interact with each other, and bridging those communication holes.
To mention that we've always been a commuter campus, and while I do support mandatory freshman housing, if they're going to do it, again, make it more accessible in terms of providing more aid. And doing things like that, because again, not everyone can afford it. Someone like me, I cannot afford it, and there are other people like me that couldn't afford it no matter what they did, and so that's going to cause a lot of issues for some people.
Yeah, that's why a lot of times I think that maybe the university should look into providing incentives for people who do stay on campus. So if you do, maybe get lower tuition, maybe lower costs somewhere else, somewhere to incentivize these students so that we become less of a commuter school. More people live on campus.
And, you say cutting costs, but you say opening the satellite. The fees for the satellite have to come in somewhere. Well, do you guys have any kind of idea on how they could compensate? Go ahead.
Again, it's all about accessibility. And it's a very broad term, but there's a lot of ways to make living on campus accessible. Again, incentivizing it. Maybe you can you have a broader range between your meal plans. Meal plans are an expensive thing. And if they choose the higher housing cost, they get an easier meal. It's all, for me, it's all about, it all depends. And I really, really want us to be diverse whenever it comes to the decisions we can make on campus to live here.
Absolutely. I'm so sorry I got to cut you off. Guys, we are going now to Cara Willis, visiting with Cara Smith. Cara?
Joining me today at AUH News is Editor-in-Chief Cara Smith of the Cougar. How are you doing today, Cara?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Great. So we wanted to talk to you a little bit about the article that you guys wrote on accusations with Carlucci. So go ahead and talk to me a little about.
Okay, perfect. Well, we released, I think what most people have taken notice of, we released a staff editorial, which is an article that's reflective of the views of the entire Cougar editorial board. So we all, the process of this is we get together, we figure out a subject that we feel should be addressed to the student body, we come to a collective view that we all agree on, and we write it as a unit. And we stood with the faculty senate in that we feel that any accusations against Cara Carlucci should be vetted by audits, internal, external, whatever resources are available, and that we did not agree with SGA's vote of no confidence. We really advocated for a viewpoint that would take into account a full investigation and the results of that investigation before we made a decision.
That must be hard, coming to an agreement with everyone on the editorial board. How do you guys, what's the process for that?
A lot of talking and a lot of patience, and it took a while for us to figure out how we felt about this, because it's a really complex issue, and it's tough. And
now, how do you guys write on all of the parties that are running for the election without being biased on a particular party?
So as far as bias goes, I mean, we were really just covering the news. We're gonna cover what happens in the election. One thing that people have noticed with SGA, historically, Red Revolution is the biggest party in SGA, and while they may give us, we have access to more members of Red Revolution and other parties, we distribute our coverage evenly among the parties and give every student and every representative their fair share of coverage.
Guys, we're back. Thank you, Cara. Real quick, want to talk about Charles Hastings' comments on his advocacy plan for Improve UH. Says that it is a useful and convenient tool for students to voice their concerns and present solutions to improve our campus. Where does SGA focus need to be in 2015 on broad issues, including open carry of firearms on college campuses? One sentence. Go ahead.
I believe SGA's main concern for the next year should be improving the life for the everyday typical college student on campus, here on campus, making a better life from them, and getting SGA more involved in their lives so that they know we're here, so that we can get them involved.
Sure.
I think UHSGA needs to be more involved in terms of like passively hearing what the students have to say. I am an admin on the class 2018 page, and because of that, I have to moderate every single single post that's made, and I see everything that they post, and that's usually what they really care about. And
Sure. I got to cut you off. Go right ahead, please.
Quite simply, SGA just needs to canvass the students, saying we need to develop collaboration and consensus amongst all the stakeholders on campus and really find out where that resolution stands.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Get out and vote. This is Peter Kelly with @UH. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you have a great day.
Have a great